Okay, so as many of you know already, if you've been watching my channel, I'm a huge fan of the Soft Tube Console 1 system. The entire integration really feels like a console to me. I can adjust plugins, my EQ, my dynamics, as well as other things without needing to look up. I can just use my ears, which condition you, in my opinion, will condition you to actually listen better when you're doing that versus focusing on the GUI of the plugin. I think that can be distracting at times, and but I think this is an awesome way of doing it. And so I'm also a woodworker. You guys probably know already. I make a lot of different enclosures for the Soft Tube Console 1 system, both the Console 1 as well as the fader, both in the MK3. So I came up with this idea maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I thought one of the complaints that I had regarding my original unit, which I understand, I think that's also a great look, but you have to kind of have your monitor up higher, because the original unit, I'm probably showing a picture of it here, ultimately would stand higher than this. And that only works if your monitor's up high. I've got this little ledge right here on my desk right here, so my monitor sits up higher than a lot of folks. But if you're on a flat surface and your monitor's not elevated, obviously that would get in the way of you being able to see the monitor, which is a problem. I think we would all agree with that. So it's not a one-size-fits-all for everybody. And so by listening to that, I came up with just a single units where you could do, where you could mount either the fader or the Console 1 here at a 15 degrees. And then it had a low profile. I think it was only maybe like 4.5 inches was the total height of the profile, and it kept it up close. And one of the things that make these so ergonomic, and I cannot stress this enough. Yes, does it look cool? Yeah, it looks really cool. There's no doubt about that. But one of the things that happens now is you can get these at an angle. So my original one had the 15-degree angle, and then when I did the first unit, that was a 0-degree angle, and then a 45-degree angle for the Console 1 as an example. Enabled you to really see everything, but kept the profile lower. And I also make some units that are 2 wide as well as 3 wide. If you want to keep them all, left and right, as an example, you could put Console 1 in the middle and a fader on the right and a fader on the left. I did that opposite. Sorry about that. But you could do that, or you can just do 2 units. Maybe you've got a fader and a Console 1. You can keep them left and right. And so that's a way of looking at it. So then I came up with this idea right here. And this by far is the one that I love the most. What you have here, there's some features built into this that really make it a perfect workflow. And if you think about sitting in front of an actual console, what are you going to have first? Well, you're going to have your faders first, right? And then you're going to have your EQ and your compression much further back. Now, on a larger console, you'd have to reach really far back to get to the top section of that, and so what this enables you to do, it keeps that same format, and you'd be able to keep that within arm's reach without having to really bend over anything. But the key to the whole thing is this right now, in this example here, I also have, I'll talk about the different examples that I've got worked up in my CAD system. But on this example right here, this one, I've got the fader at a 10-degree angle, which enables it, gets it up at an angle. You can see what's clearly written here very easily. And I think that's really cool. And so it makes it without having to bend up and look over or something like that, or maybe sit higher in the chair than you really want to. And then what I've got back here is the Console 1. That's at a 15-degree angle. And that really kind of makes it perfectly ergonomic as far as a visual perspective, be able to see everything you need without having to, lean up and lean over to see what's going on. So this so far is a perfect. I've also got this designed at a 0-degree angle and this at a 15-degree angle if you needed a lower profile. I've also got this at a 15 and this at a 15, but that's going to give you a higher angle profile. So any one of those, I can do those build to order if you want. Now, some of the features built into this, well, before I talk about the feature built into it, 'cause it's really just mainly one, but I found that it's an important one, is I think the first thing that stands out about this is it looks really cool. Okay. That's the first thing. But second, what I try to accomplish with this, instead of building a full-on encased thing that's going to cost a whole lot more money than this, I try to produce these things at a reasonable price so that you're not having to spend a ton of money to get it in this kind of a profile. But at the same time, you have this beautiful, I use high quality wood when I do this, and all this is CNC'd on my CNC machine, obviously. And so these mount easily by the two mounting slots on the side that are meant to, if you're going to rack mount them, you just go into the side. Some of my other units will secure to the Versa mount on the back of it, same thing you'd have on a TV, on the back to secure it and hold it in place. So that way you can pick it up and move it if you need to. Maybe you're going to clean your desk, you just pick it up and take it off. You don't have to worry about anything falling out or anything like that. But it keeps the price down when you do it like this. It really makes these affordable for just about anybody. If you've already invested close to $2,000 in these units, spending a few $100s to get something that's not only beautiful, that's made out of high quality wood, but also presents it in a way that is really ergonomic, that to me, that makes sense. And it really opens it up for everybody. Yes, I could make a full-on encased thing with a padded handrest and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, this is kind of the direction I think I'm going with this for right now, because I think it appeals more widely to people out there. I've also designed one for the PreSonus Faderport 16, and that'll be coming out here very, very soon. I finished that up over the last weekend too. But I've got a few more details to work out on that. One of the features down here, you'll notice this little, we'll call it a round over. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. If you look over here, I've got this unit that controls my total mix and everything using my RMA interface. And so what it's doing is that USB kind of comes out from underneath here and then can slightly, come out underneath the enclosure right here without exposing too many wires to keep it more clutter-free on it. Now, in this desk, now I'm not suggesting you have to do this. Nobody has to do this. But underneath here, I've just cut a small hole with a hole saw, and all of my USB cables and power cables and everything for everything on the desk come up through that. I've still got some other clutter thing that I've got to work around here. But anyway, that's a different discussion for another day. But I don't know about you, but I think this is really freaking cool. I really, really, truly love it. And if you find it as interesting as I do, you can go to www.artisanwoodshed.com and you can purchase this for your studio if you want to. I can make it out of really any wood. There's certain woods I have in stock, but if I have to go get it, I can do the build to order, or sometimes I'll keep them in stock and things like that. So these pieces are actually going to go up for sale. They're going to go on the website here. By the day this comes out, these are already up on the website. So I hope you kind of like that. I think it's really cool. Also, one last thing, if you enjoy my channel, you enjoy the content, of course, not all my channels are kind of not all my videos are self-advertising for stuff that I make and sell. Most of them are about content of the studio. I think if you're new to me, you need to know that, because all you got to do is go back and look at my previous videos. I've done, hundreds at this point. But that's what's, it's another passion I have here. But anyway, outside of that, if you're going to be purchasing anything soon, maybe you're going to buy a console one. Maybe you've already got the console one. You're going to buy a fader, whatever it may be, or you're going to need a new set of strings for your guitar, or whatever, a new patch cable, or maybe you're going to go buy a Neve console. I don't know. I've got links down below in the description below for Sweetwater. If you choose that link, whatever you put in your cart and you buy, I get a tiny, tiny cut of. I've got the same thing for Thomann over in Europe. So if you do that, that's a way to support this channel. Because if you watch my channel, I don't do sponsorships. The only person who sponsors my videos are me for products that I make, and I don't even do that very often. But ultimately, I'd appreciate if you'd do that. But until next time, have a great day. And man, I love this layout. I absolutely love it. Bye-bye.